What a roller coaster of a career CJ Gardner-Johnson has had. And honestly, this latest twist might be one of the most surprising yet. A player who has never lacked for fire, intensity, or playmaking ability, CJ has once again found himself on the outside looking in. From starting at the University of Florida and making a name for himself as a standout Gator, to being drafted by the New Orleans Saints in the fourth round back in 2019, his NFL journey has been anything but smooth. And sure, he probably could have gone higher in the draft, but some behind-the-scenes whispers during the pre-draft process caused him to slide. That didn't stop him, though. When he hit the field in New Orleans, he showed exactly why he belonged in the league. Early in his career, he was one of those guys you immediately noticed, not just because of his trash talk or the feisty demeanor, but because of the energy he brought to every single play. He was part of those tough Dennis Allen defenses that were one of the few in the league to consistently give Tom Brady a hard time when he was in Tampa Bay. Remember those viral moments of him jawing with Brady or even getting into scuffles on the field? That's CJ. Love him or hate him, you know he's not backing down from anyone. And that's exactly why Eagles fans fell in love with him when he was traded to Philadelphia right before the start of the 2022 season. At the time, Philly needed a safety, and even though CJ had been playing a lot in the nickel spot in New Orleans, the Eagles saw him as a solution on the back end. He stepped in and instantly became a tone setter. Despite missing time due to a pretty serious injury, he still tied for the NFL lead in interceptions with 6. Think about that. He didn't even play a full season and still finished at the top in picks. That's what kind of impact player he is. A huge reason why that 2022 Eagles defense was one of the best in the league and why they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. But then came the business side of the NFL. CJ's contract was up, and instead of bringing him back, Philly let him walk. He ended up signing with the Detroit Lions in 2023. And just like that, the next chapter began. Unfortunately, injuries hit again. He barely saw the field, though he did return in time for the playoffs and made some noise. But his time there was short. After that single season, Philly, realizing they'd lost that edge on defense, brought him back in 2024. It felt like a reunion that made total sense. The defense was soft. The swagger was gone. They needed someone like CJ to bring that energy, that confidence, that toughness. Then comes another twist. After helping Philly win a Super Bowl, he's traded out of nowhere to the Houston Texans in March in exchange for Kenyon Green. It seemed like a surprising move at the time, but hey, it's the NFL. Still, you had to think he'd fit right in with the Texans under head coach DeMeco Ryans, a former linebacker himself who built his defense around speed and aggression. But it didn't work out. CJ got hurt again, missed time, returned for just 3 games, and then boom, released. Just like that. No warning. No real explanation. And it caught everyone off guard. What makes this whole thing even more bizarre is that the player he was traded for, Kenyon Green, was also on the Ravens practice squad when CJ landed there. Talk about irony. And now, fast forward, both of them have been released. CJ Gardner-Johnson is once again a free agent. Once again, looking for his next opportunity. Once again, try to remind the NFL who he is and what he brings to the table. Right after the release from Baltimore, he took to social media. And the message? Gratitude, growth, acknowledgement. He thanked every team he's been part of, every coach, every teammate. Talked about how much he still loves the game, how much he's grown on and off the field. He's clearly working on his mental health, try to evolve not just as a player, but as a person. That's important. That's real. And while some might read that tweet and wonder if he's thinking about retirement, that's not the vibe here. Not at all. CJ made it clear he's still passionate about football. He's still working. He still wants to play. But let's be honest. When you bounce around from team to team as often as he has, there's usually more to the story. Talent has never been the issue. Playmaking? Check. Energy? Check. Versatility? Check. But behind the scenes? Maybe he's not always the easiest guy to manage. Maybe the intensity that fans love becomes a little too much in a locker room environment. That's the balancing act. And sometimes that's the reason teams move on, even when the talent is undeniable. Still, for all the talk about fit, personality, and locker room dynamics, you can't argue with what happens when CJ Gardner-Johnson is on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles. When he's suited up in midnight green, the defense plays different. They hit harder. They talk louder. They believe. And after what we just witnessed from this Eagles defense against the Giants, they could use a spark like that. Because that performance was flat out embarrassing. No fire. No heart. No physicality. They got bullied by an offense that shouldn't be bullying anyone. They looked soft, hesitant, scared to tackle. That's not Philly football. You really think that happens if CJ Gardner-Johnson is out there? No chance. He brings an edge that's contagious. He sets a tone. And even though the Eagles traded him away, even though it may have been to save some future cap or avoid conflict behind closed doors, they're clearly missing what he brought. They kept saying, "Oh, we have guys who will step up and be leaders." Who? Where are they? Who's actually leading that defense right now? Because it doesn't look like anyone is. This is the second time Philly underestimated CJ's impact. The first was after the Super Bowl run when they let him walk. Then they brought him back and won it all. And now, he's available again. And here's the wild part. CJ actually liked a tweet calling for Philly to bring him back. That's not nothing. That's a sign. That's a door left open. That's a player saying, "Hey, I'm still here. I still got love for the city, for the team, for the fans." And listen, I get it. Not everyone's a fan of the guy. He's intense. He can rub people the wrong way. But personally, I'll take a guy with that much passion, that much fire, who might get under some skin, over a player who doesn't care, over a defense that gets pushed around, over a locker room with no pulse. If the player is worth it, and CJ absolutely is, I'll deal with the personality. And maybe it's just a Philly thing. Maybe he doesn't work in Detroit. Maybe he doesn't fit in Houston. Maybe Baltimore wasn't the right spot. But in Philadelphia, with that crowd, with that defensive unit, in that city that thrives off emotion and toughness, CJ fits. He just fits. There's a reason the Eagles' defense was elite both years he played for them. There's a reason they made it to the Super Bowl both times. When he's there, things change. There's saying in football, sometimes the right player just belongs in the right city. And with CJ Gardner-Johnson, it's starting to feel like Philadelphia might be the only place that truly gets him. His energy, his fearlessness, his personality, those things don't just fit in Philly, they thrive there. So when fans saw him like that tweet about coming back, it was like pouring gas on a fire that was already building. Everyone knows what's missing from this current Eagles defense. It's not just about schemes or tackling technique. It's about soul, swagger, identity, the things CJ brings every time he steps on the field. And there's more smoke than just one like tweet. Right after the Ravens released him from the practice squad, the Eagles made a quiet move that raised some eyebrows. They released running back Audric Estime from their own practice squad. Coincidence? Maybe. But then factor in the open spot on the active roster after the unexpected retirement of Zadarius Smith, and suddenly it doesn't feel like a stretch. It feels like the door might be cracking open. CJ is available. He's interested. The roster has room. The fans want him. The defense needs him. What's the holdup? Let's talk about what happens when CJ is in the lineup. The Eagles' defense becomes something entirely different. Not just statistically, though the numbers speak for themselves. 12 interceptions in just 28 games with Philly, but in attitude. He plays with fire. He hits with violence. He baits quarterbacks. He celebrates every stop like it's the game winner. And that kind of emotion is infectious. It's exactly what the current secondary is missing. Because right now, that unit looks lost. Andrew Makuba has been solid in the run game, but has struggled badly in coverage. That touchdown he gave up to Wan'Dale Robinson was flat out ugly. Poor recognition, missed assignment, whiff tackle. It was a moment that screamed inexperience and uncertainty. CJ doesn't make that mistake. And what's more, he's a chess piece. You can line him up at safety or nickel. If you bring him in now, you can put him in the slot and let Cooper DeJean play outside opposite Quinyon Mitchell. Suddenly, the Eagles might be looking at their three best cornerbacks all on the field at the same time and in positions where they can actually succeed. And the timing couldn't be more critical. This Eagles team isn't building for the future. They're trying to win right now. They have Super Bowl aspirations, and if they're being honest, this defense isn't cutting it. They're giving up too many explosive plays, they're not getting off the field on third downs, and they're failing to respond when things get physical. Bringing CJ back could patch some of those issues instantly. Is he a perfect solution? No. He's had injuries. He's had clashes with coaching staffs. But when the lights come on, he delivers. We saw in 2022 when the defense was clicking, creating turnovers, setting the tone early in games. That wasn't just about play calling. That was about attitude. And right now, Vic Fangio is watching this secondary get beat over the top, give up chunk plays underneath, and miss open field tackles. And he's got to be pulling his hair out. Adding CJ back into that equation gives him a proven weapon. A player who understands how to disguise coverages, how to bait quarterbacks, how to rally the unit when things get chippy. And make no mistake, this Eagles locker room still has guys who would welcome CJ back. Darius Slay has played some of his best football alongside him. Fletcher Cox knows what he brings. Even the younger players could benefit from that edge, that mentorship, because it's one thing to be told how to bring the juice, and another thing to watch a guy like CJ live it every single snap. Of course, there's risk involved. There always is with a personality as strong as CJ's. That's why teams keep moving on, right? It's not about the talent. It's about everything else that comes with it. But let's not pretend the Eagles haven't already navigated this exact situation twice before. They know what they're getting. They've seen the good and the bad. They're not going into this blind. And if they believe the locker room is strong enough, and it should be, they can bring him back without worrying about a meltdown. Because what's the alternative? Let this defense keep getting gashed by mediocre offenses? Let them limp into the playoffs with no identity, no voice, and no edge? The time to make a move is now. CJ's out there. He's waiting. And judging by the way he's been communicating online, posting about gratitude, about growth, about staying ready, it's clear he's doing some reflecting. He knows the book on him. He knows why he keeps bouncing from team to team. And maybe, just maybe, he's ready to prove that he's not just a short-term spark, but a long-term answer. Let's not forget, this guy helped bring a Lombardi trophy to Philadelphia. He didn't just show up and fill a role. He helped lead. He helped set the tone. He made big-time plays in big-time games. And when you look at the Eagles roster right now, especially in the secondary, who's doing that? Who's making that impact? Who's the voice on the back end that gets in people's faces, that holds teammates accountable, that lets the opponent know they're not just playing against a scheme, they're playing against a mindset? Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing with an unexpected twist that has sent shockwaves through fans and analysts alike. Nate Hobbs, the dynamic defensive back known for his sharp instincts and explosive plays, has reportedly donned the green and white of the Philadelphia Eagles. The news, though still unconfirmed by official team channels, has ignited a whirlwind of speculation across social media, sports radio, and locker room chatter. Insiders hint that this move, if finalized, could represent one of the most surprising switches of the season. Hobbs, who has built a reputation as a fierce competitor in the secondary, suddenly aligning with a team that has consistently flirted with championship contention, raises more questions than answers. How did the Eagles' front office manage to lure such a talent? And what does this mean for their defensive scheme? Could Hobbs immediately slot into the starting lineup? Or will his integration require careful tactical adjustments? Analysts are already debating the potential ripple effects on both the AFC and NFC landscapes. The rumors began quietly, with cryptic social media posts showing glimpses of Hobbs in Philadelphia green, sparking a frenzy among fans eager for confirmation. Pundits note that such a signing could shift the balance of power in the NFC, adding a layer of intrigue to an already unpredictable season. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly scrambling to reassess their defensive strategies, as Hobbs' reputation for creating turnovers and reading quarterbacks could present new challenges week after week. Sources close to the player suggest that Hobbs is motivated not only by the opportunity to compete at the highest level, but also by the chance to be part of a team culture known for intensity and innovation. Yet, amid the excitement, caution reigns. Until the Eagles issue an official statement, the league remains in a state of suspense, with fans and commentators alike speculating on the implications. One thing is certain. The mere possibility of Hobbs in Philadelphia has injected a new energy into the NFL conversation, promising drama, headlines, and heated debates for weeks to come. Could this be the blockbuster shake-up the league didn't see coming? Only time will tell. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.